Hi, thanks for checking out this video. We're going to talk about static chords, and we're going to use a minor chord in this talk, and I think I probably will do a few more talks on this in the future with different chords. So this was a suggested topic on by by a viewer or subscriber on the Sunday Live, I think a couple of weeks ago. So been thinking about it a little bit since then, and pentatonics are kind of a good place to start there, I think. And so we'll begin by looking at that. And kind of one thing that I assume folks are going for with this is to create a little tension, excuse me, or just something to create interest on in the line, so that um, it's not just kind of playing out the chord tones, say D minor, and then you kind of get one tension on there with the minor pentatonic. So we're going to compare everything to that particular scale. So we'll branch out and use other pentatonic scales and have a little bit of a kind of back and forth approach uh, on it. All right, if you do like this video, please help out the channel by clicking the like button and hit the subscribe and turn on notifications and check out the member area. The PDF for this will be on the community tab for members, all members. All right, well, let's dive into this here. Let's see, getting a little ahead of ourselves. Let's back up here. So we have static minor seventh chords in this talk. We're talking about minor seventh chords. And where our goal is to improvise using pentatonic scale shapes exclusively. We have I have about 12 slides, I think, lined up. So it's 12 different, actually it's 13 different pentatonic scales if you include the D minor pentatonic. And so the gray tones are the D minor pentatonic tones. And so if those are shared tones with the other pentatonic scale, then we'll keep those in gray. And then if there's a tone that's different, we're going to label that as blue. All right, well, let's try to get situated here. Remember, this is only one position that I'm going to be going over, one of the, you might say, caged patterns. So this is our root note. Let's build a chord out of that. So that would be this tone, this tone, this tone, and this tone. It's the minor seventh chord there. And what we're going to be doing, or what I suggest you try to do, and you can do many different things, but we're going to try to pick, 4 different tones and head down to the other pentatonic shape and head back. So what I'm going to do is slowly play a few tones from each back and forth, 4 notes of each, and then I'm going to play a chord here. So D minor 7. So you might do something fairly similar there. You might also just take the minor pentatonic, the A minor pentatonic, and get a sense for how that sounds with the um, D minor against the D minor chord sound, D minor 7. So that gives us a 9. Remember, all of these are going to be D minor 7. So That's our static chord. So that gives us a 9 on the D minor, right? And then we lack the flat 3 for this one, right? So I'm going to go over each one pretty briefly here and just talk about it. So remember that the D minor pentatonic, like we talked about earlier, has the 11 in it. And we're kind of mainly thinking in terms of Dorian sort of sound. So to start out with, we have this, and then in the previous slide, we had the 9 in there. Okay, so we had the 11 and the 9. So in this particular pattern, we have, you could think of this as so down below here, we could think of this as a D minor 6. Okay, and it's coming out of the G dominant pentatonic scale. So I'll do a little back and forth here. Right, and again, you could spend some time getting accustomed to that tension there. And then we'll keep reminding ourselves of the chord. Okay, so far, we've tried the A minor pentatonic and the G dominant pentatonic. So if you survey and you think about the notes in D Dorian, what we've done is selected out 2 notes of the C major scale, or D Dorian, right? And then we've kind of replaced one or the other with the 6 in the case of the G dominant. And the 9 in the case of the A minor pentatonic. So each one replaced one note. So the G dominant pentatonic, that replaced the flat 7 with the 6. All right, well, we built a pentatonic scale from the 5th of D, and that was A minor. We built a scale from the 4th, that was G dominant pentatonic. Let's try building one from the 2nd. And this is E minor pentatonic. All right, so again, let's play the chord here. So that's one thing you can do for practice is move, select 4 notes from one and then 4 notes from the other, kind of move back and forth. Another thing that you can do too, like we've been talking about, is to play just the one that provides tension. So the minor pentatonic in this case. Okay, so let's move on to our next slide here. So, so those are our particular pentatonic patterns that we've talked about up to now. So with um, with the minor pentatonics, um, you have five different kind of modes of the pentatonic scale. So that's and generally you have minor pentatonic and the major pentatonic, and so those are kind of the same pool of notes. So that A minor pentatonic that we talked about earlier, you might also have a C major pentatonic. That's kind of the same collection of tones there. And then we talked about the dominant pentatonic, which is a little bit different. So we're going to get back a little bit to some other of those types of pentatonic scales and also alterations to those. But um, this one is, you might think a little bit more in terms of uh, chords. So as we talked about at the beginning, we have a minor seven chord. So that's the arpeggio, that's four notes. We also have this non-chord tone, which is the 11. So what if we decide to exclude the 11 and add a different non-chord tone? So that's what we're doing here. So in this case, we have the 9. So still, in a sense, it forms a type of pentatonic scale, but it's sort of um, been been kind of created out of these chords. All right, so let's go back, do a little back and forth on this one. Okay, and some of these will probably take a good bit of work to just get familiar with. So, try to explore them a little bit and familiarize yourself with those. Okay, so we talked about excluding the 11 from the pentatonic, adding the 9 in its place. This is the same approach, but we're excluding the 11 and we're adding the sixth in its place. All right, so let's explore that a little bit. So some of these shapes might be pretty unfamiliar, and what I'm doing here is, as far as the shape that's given, is I'm trying to limit it to two notes per string. So that can help your lines. You can do same string, or crossover, crossover. Okay, so those last two kind of, you might say, synthetic, or just sort of um, put together based on the chord. I think they're very worth exploring. So keep in mind we're trying to get a little bit of motion going on, and this could be used with a lot of kind of modal music. So everything up to that point there um, has all been D Dorian, basically. So we're just being selective about what notes we're choosing. to play, and we're limiting ourselves to 5 and coming up with different combinations. And then this can just give you some melodic, you might think of melodic structures or melodic units to use and create tension and release. Here we're going to start stepping outside a little bit more. So one technique for this is to use what's sometimes called side slipping or side stepping. So so one thing you could do is you can simply take that particular scale and move it down. What I've done here is a little bit different. So I'm trying to keep one tone in common. And that in this case is the third there, the flat third of the D minor. But you can see everything else is pretty outside. Okay, so you can hear it's pretty striking. Once the ear kind of gets used to it, it's like, okay, that's what's happening. But the first time I stepped out there, it may seem a little out for sure. But again, you might explore just that C sharp dominant pentatonic on its own, get used to that sound. So here's another one that steps out of it. It's technically not really side slipping or side stepping. I mean, if you take it on a note by note basis, it is, but I'm trying to keep that tone there in common. Okay, that flat third. So this is the B flat minor pentatonic. Right, and again, try to explore that sound. And that dissonance there. All right, so those two pages, those are kind of real outside sounds, and everything before that were kind of inside type sounds, although some things were a little bit different. Here we're going to start to get into suggesting a little bit of harmonic progressions. So here we're going to have some dissonance. Notice that this one tone here that's different, the G minor pentatonic. You can also think of this as B flat major pentatonic. This tone is the flat 6 on D minor, right? So that is going to strongly pull down to the 5th of the D minor. All right, so kind of moving back and forth from that. So this gives us a little bit of tension. You can see most of the notes are the same, but that that B flat there is a pretty dissonant tone. So be aware of that. So this starts getting us into predominant sort of sounds. All right. So this is just like the one we just had, but we're changing that one note. So we get the dominant 7. So this is a pretty common predominant chord that resolves to minor. right. So next up, we're going to move to and then again, try to take that sound and compare it. So this kind of incidentally is a really good sound for the D minor 7 flat 5 chord. Okay, you may have remembered earlier we played the A minor pentatonic on the sound. Here we're going to work on the A dominant pentatonic, which suggests a 5 chord. Okay, so that's another area where you could create tension and release. And next up, we're going to alter that dominant pentatonic by lowering the 9. Now, this is a very common resolution in minor. So you want to be aware of what sound you're going for, because this is gonna suggest a little bit more of a traditional 5-5-1. But so that's why we get familiar with the sound and decide what we want to use at any given moment. Okay, so just a reminder that um, we're thinking about static chords, and this is static minor chords, and we're not necessarily thinking about key here. So we're starting out by thinking about D Dorian. So that would be, I think, key of no flats and no sharps. But we're thinking about chords that don't necessarily have a resolution or a motion or even really like a function. So we have a D minor, let's say for a prolonged period of time, and think of a tune like Impressions, and we're trying to create some tension in there. So, all right. So there's that, and then let's see. We'll look at one more. So this one is kind of related to that dominant 7. So this would, you might think of like a flat 2 sort of sound. So again, D minor 7. All right. So that's going to conclude our talk. So I have been live streaming this via podcast, and I'm going to also place that on the. I'll publish this as an episode. So if you want to listen to this podcast, you can check it out there. So this is also if you are listening to this on the podcast, this video is available on YouTube, which if you're listening to it live hasn't been published yet, but this will be published on YouTube, youtube.com/Brett Prince, and so check it out there. All right, everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you are watching this video on YouTube, please hit the like button, join, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Everybody, I'll see you all in the next one.